So Jean-Luc Godard once said, "A story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, but not necessarily in that order." So I'd like to start in the middle. When I was 18, I had my first panic attack. I collapsed into myself like a black hole, and I felt empty and void. And honestly, that one moment has changed me, and it still affects me to this very day. But before that, I was doing pretty well. I had a scholarship in Singapore, I was a straight A student, and I was being solely defined by the things that I could produce. And while I produced good things, the stress of it proved to be too much. So I decided to drop my scholarship and go to the beautiful land of America and have the full college experience. And while things did get better, I still felt imprisoned, like my education was somehow limited. So I decided to go back to the beginning, where once upon a time there was this adorable little girl called Kai. And if you can't see, I am, for some reason, learning how to fence in the middle of a shoe store, and if that's not a representation of how weird of a kid I was, then I don't know what else to say. So that girl reminded me that I walked through life full of wonder, and it was that wonder that made me fall in love with the stories that I read and want to tell some of my own. But until I came to UnCollege, there was one story that I thought was never worth telling, and that was mine. So once I got to San Francisco, this is how I told my story. I did spoken word poetry at City Hall. I learned how to animate a lot of things, and I decided to make things and put them out to the world. This is my portfolio, kainovelia.com, cough, cough. And I also learned a lot about myself and how I want to approach life. I've learned how to be vulnerable and to let people in. And because I did that, I've made great friends who really support me. I learned that there are some things that are not mine to hold and that I need to let go of. I've learned that the panic will always be there, so I might as well embrace it. Because when I tell myself that, yes, I'm scared, but I'm gonna do this anyway, that is how I grow. So you could say that this is the end of my launch story, but I also like to think of it as a new beginning. And if I had to summarize my launch phase, it would be in this one lesson. During those darkest days, all I wanted to do was disappear. But I've come to realize that my story matters, I matter, and that by sharing my story, I can perhaps inspire you. I can perhaps inspire you to share yours too, because that is how change starts, when we connect with each other, when we empathize with each other, and move forward together. So, I stand before you a changed person, a person who has found the confidence in herself to finally say that this is my story, and so now I want to know what's yours. Thank you.